The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
King Josiah, Your Majesty,
Is everything okay? Did someone get hurt rebuilding the temple?
I'm sorry, but this just couldn't wait. Show him.
A book? Come on, man. You got me all riled up. How important can this book be? We have books everywhere.
So basically, we got the treasuries from the temple, and we paid every man that worked on the temple, everyone that oversees the day-to-day operations. And while we were in the temple, Hilkiah the priest gave me this book, and it's from the Lord.
Fine. I'll hear you out. What does this book have to say?
These be the words which Moses spoke unto all Israel on this side of Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, or that is in the water. And all these blessings shall come upon thee, and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, blessed shalt thou be in the field, blessed shalt thou be. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commands and his statutes, which I have commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy. And there arose no other prophet in Israel like Moses, who the Lord knew face to face, in all the signs and wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt, and to all his servants, and to all his land, and in all that mighty hand, and in all that great terror which Moses showed in the sight of all Israel.
Oh my word. This is serious. What can I do? You know what? We need to inquire of the Lord right now. Go inquire of the Lord for me and for all the people of Judah concerning the words of this book. For great is the wrath of the Lord against us, not because of what we're doing, but because our forefathers have not obeyed the words of this book to do according to all that is written concerning us. This is serious. We must take this serious. Reform is about to come to the nation. Step into the remarkable reign of King Josiah in 2 Kings chapters 22 and 23. Amidst a backdrop of moral decay and idolatry, Josiah's leadership shines as a beacon of reform and renewal. Join us as we delve into the captivating story of a young king's quest for righteousness, the rediscovery of forgotten scrolls, and the revival of faith in a nation. In this episode, we explore the profound impact of King Josiah. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone there had a great week. How was your week, man?
Felt long, man. A lot of running up and down. Well, today's my birthday. You know what I'm saying? I gotta start off there. Yep, the big 30. But this week, a lot of running up and down, a lot of exercising. Just making sure I don't come into this decade half stepping. You know what I mean? Like,
new hairdo.
Got my hair done. You know what I'm saying? I need to go to the barber though, but soon. But yeah, bro. I mean, I feel good. God is good.
Amen.
Yeah, my week wasn't too bad other than that, though. It's just a lot of self-inflicted, running up and down, just preparing for the weekend and stuff like that. So,
what's up? That's what's up.
What about you?
Week was good. I actually had
a long day yesterday, but overall it was actually pretty good. Still prayers for all the stuff happening in the world, all of them, all of the bad, all of the good, all of the in between. Prayers for everything, because there's a lot of people going through it right now, and we are getting ever so closer to the holiday season. So a lot of people also going through it financially because of everything that's happening in multiple economies. So yeah, prayers for everyone. Hopefully everyone out there, still keeps their faith and trust in God through it all. There's something else I wanted to say, but that has completely missed my just poof, vanished.
Well, it might come to you.
We'll see. Sometimes it'll come to you when it's like, it don't even make no sense saying this no more.
Yeah, it don't even matter no more.
We done so far gone in the pause. Like, oh, well, that point ain't worth it. But okay. Oh yeah, also for everyone who's enjoying, definitely share the podcast with a friend or family member, and leave a comment and hit that like button, and also hit the subscribe button if you have not subscribed yet, because not everyone who listens weekly is subscribed. So yeah, hit the button. Also follow us on the other platforms that we are on. I was starting to feel too YouTubery, so I stopped.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so last episode we focused on Manasseh, King Manasseh, who was the son of King Hezekiah. And Manasseh was evil. Is that a good word to describe him?
Pretty much, yeah.
And Manasseh means to forget, which is also kind of fitting. In I know we haven't been on our names of meanings tip for a while, but yeah, Manasseh means to forget, and it's interesting that he literally, I won't say he forgot, but he made all of Israel seemingly forget everything that Hezekiah had just brought them through and done, all the reforms that they went through. Yeah, the whole nation forgot.
Yeah, he definitely forsaken. I don't know. God.
I know the intent.
Right. And so, it's funny though, bro? In a lot of these chapters, it's like you got one main king, and then you have his successor that
he don't get too much shine.
Yeah, he'll get too much shine. Because I keep forgetting that the king we about to talk to today, I keep thinking Hezekiah is his grandfather, but Hezekiah is his great grandfather.
Yeah, facts. I even we even called a chapter last week King Manasseh.
King Manasseh.
And we did technically mention Amnon, but the guy,
we forgot him. We Manasseh him.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Quite literally. So in this week, we are going to talk about Amnon's son, who is Manasseh's grandson and King Hezekiah's great-grandson. So we're going to be taking it from 2 Kings 22. So Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jedediah, the daughter of Adiah, of Boskath. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord and walked in all the ways of his father David. He did not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. And so we see he was like David. And so we're going to get more into that as we go. So now in verse 3, now it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah. So he was
26.
Exactly. That the king sent Shaphan the scribe, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, to the house of the Lord, saying, go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, that he may count the money which is being brought into the house of the Lord, which the doorkeepers have gathered from the people, and let him deliver it into the hand of those doing the work, who are the overseers in the house of the Lord. Let him give it to those who are in the house of the Lord doing the work, to repair the damages of the house, to the carpenters and to the builders and to the masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. However, there need to be no accounting made with them of the money delivered into their hand because they deal faithfully.
That was a pretty, common thing with, I want to say, like during the reign of righteous kings who trying to do some work for the temple. We see that a few kings, I can't remember the name, but this I think it's like the third time we heard of provisions being made to restore the temple and everybody dealing faithfully, and they don't have to bookkeep. So one like me, I would not have no job in this conference, and you know what I mean, in the temple, because they don't need accountants because everything's straightforward. Everybody get paid evenly and fairly.
Also, fun fact, it is believed that this high priest was the father of the weeping prophet Jeremiah.
Okay.
Because in Jeremiah 1, verse 1, these are the words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests. And then the word of the Lord came to him the 13th year of the reign of Josiah, the son of Amnon, king of Judah. So the timeline also does match up.
So we could say for a fact, Jeremiah was around during the time of Josiah, and there was just so happened to be a priest during that time.
Yes.
Who was Jeremiah's father? You know what I'm saying? So either it's that there's two Hilkiahs, you know what I'm saying?
Who are both priests.
Or that this was Jeremiah's father.
Yeah, so that's also interesting, like tidbit. Where was I? Verse 11. No.
I think it's verse 8.
Yes. Yeah. Then Hilkiah, the priest, the high priest, said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave it to Shaphan, and he read it. So Shaphan the scribe went to the king, bringing the king word, saying, your servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hand of those who do the work, who oversee the house of the Lord. Then Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest has given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. So now it happened when the king heard the words of the book of the law that he tore his clothes. The king commanded Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam the son of Shaphan, Akbor the son of Mehikiah, Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, a servant of the king, saying, go inquire of the Lord for me, for the people and for all of Judah, concerning the words of this book that has been found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is aroused against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book, to do according to all that is written concerning us.
So, okay. Being a high priest. Okay, so first of all, they doing work in the temple of the Lord. Now, we know that Josiah's grandfather erected Asherah and probably Baal.
Multiple idols.
Oh, yeah. Because you had the idols for the gods, the stars, and
the host,
yeah, all of that. He was into everything, bro. Manasseh was into everything.
But again, like this, that brings up a point that we mentioned like a few weeks ago now on the pod. Like the opposite of believing in God isn't believing in like he doesn't exist. It's believing in anything. And we see like in Israel, Judah is a perfect example of this. Both kingdoms, like. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we no longer believe that God isn't real. We're gonna worship anything now at this point. Like literally, the universe is our oyster, quite literally. And we see how they fall into depravity. But keep going.
Yeah, so I'm very. It's like kind of great to me, the state of Israel at this very time, because when the author of Kings, whenever they introduce a king, they start off by saying how long the king reigned and whether it was good or bad. But that's a summary. You know what I'm saying? We have some kings who were both good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Just depending on what point in time in their life you're looking at it. So we know Josiah was good, right? But they just find in the law. And you could see that they weren't aware of this stuff because of how he reacts to finding the law, which leads me to wonder what what were the jobs of the high priest at that time? You know what I'm saying? We have people that worked in the temple, excuse me, they were good people because they say they didn't need accounting. Everybody dealt honestly and faithfully. You know what I'm saying? So it really makes me wonder. Like at this point, I think that they were being good based on the light that they had. You know what I'm saying? But they probably weren't like aware of God and the stories and the law.
Interesting. It's like an interesting perspective, right? Because, man, if you just do the math, right? He reigned 31 years, and in his 18th year was when he came across this.
Mm-hmm.
This 18 years in, just by math, he only have 13 years left after this.
Yeah.
Which is like so interesting. And it goes back to like Deuteronomy. Goodness. Should have had the chapter already, but I will go on the limb and say like
blessings and curses.
Not even the blessings and curses, right? But it might be. But it's like when they was talking about like, you're supposed to read the kingdom word. You're supposed to keep it in the house of God.
17. 17. Yeah.
So like it goes back to that, but we can see again, this wasn't happening. And it's natural that he find the book of the law in the house of the Lord, because that's where it should be. And there was supposed to be a copy kept in the ark too. Like again, we don't even know the state of the temple right now. Like the temple has been sacked, riches have been given away. Like it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting.
Deuteronomy 17 verse 19 is just saying that the law should be read to him all the days of his life, and that's the king they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, like it's a good thought experiment. Like, what were the priests doing? And we know God makes his way known. We know there was still some prophets in the time who God was giving his word to. So to me, the light was still being shown, but like it's like the full capacity just wasn't being known. And I feel like anytime they were under a king with a very stubborn heart, as I'd phrase it right now, it's like the light isn't being shown as bright as they can, because the king is the one who is setting the pace for the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the king says we're going to erect idols in the temple. Who's stopping it? And by you doing that, and you also doing these acts, you are okaying it for the whole nation to do. I know, like at the end of last episode, off pod, we started to talk about like the whole thing about worshiping idols. Is the worshiping idols itself is bad, right? But it's like the whole culture that comes around with that now, because now all your whole moral compass for the whole nation has gone astray. You know what I'm saying? So now you ain't worshiping the one true God no more. So the 10 Commandments, you ain't keeping them no more. Like, what is adultery now? What is killing? What is coveting? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are all these things now to you? Because your moral compass is off. So now you're doing this, the whole nation has a whole moral shift. So now when we say, oh yeah, we about to sacrifice our child, that doesn't seem wrong because the whole moral compass has now shifted. Oh yeah, I'm just going to take your wife and sleep with her. That doesn't seem wrong because the whole moral compass has shifted in the whole nation now. And you see why God was like, y'all think just a simple thing. I'm worried about your whole lifestyle holistically. First of all, ain't no created thing even could compare to me, but y'all can't even get that part out y'all mind. But furthermore, y'all can't even see what this doing to you guys as a society. You guys ain't safe no more. You guys more angry. You more bitter. You more self-indulgent, less self-control. Like, and that's what these things start doing to you. But
bro, even reading the Bible and they talking about they made this child pass through the fire. Someone like me, I would read that and be like I am so removed from that being okay to the point where I'm like, bro, why? You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? But then I would watch a movie or a show, and if the show has some type of unknown religion, there's some tribe who worship the quote unquote gods, plural, you see evidence of that. You would see where people would suggest that, or, you know, depending on the type of show it is, they might even show that, bro. That's a very common thing in polytheistic religions.
Let's throw them in the volcano.
Right. That's a normal flex, bro. Normal flex, they'd be like, bro, oh, the gods are upset. You know what I'm saying? You got to offer sacrifice. Some people sacrifice themselves, bro. I mean, but like to me, it's like unheard of. It's like, this can only be fiction, bro. Y'all doing this for shock value. But I just go to show how normal certain things, bro. Like, because we have a mirror, bro. We have like a standard, we have something to keep us in line. Like, we have a line to cross and not to cross, which is the word and the law, etc. Right? But when other people make up the law, or when people rely on the quote unquote spirits, which in demons are spirits, to make the law, bro, all type of vile, you know what I'm saying, things can happen, bro. Like, we was even talking about ancient pharaohs, where a pharaoh, there needed to be two pharaohs, one to represent the mother god and the father god. I can't remember their names now, but it's unimportant. So even like Cleopatra, when she was the pharaoh, she had to marry her brother so that there could be a male pharaoh, and they were in matrimony. And her brother died. When her brother died, she married a younger brother after that. You know what I'm saying? Normal. Yeah, very interesting. But so the thing is, it's kind of hard for me to really understand exactly culturally what being righteous was like during this time, because like you say, they did have prophets. They never stop having prophets. Even when we have years, excuse me, when we have, so think about it like this. Manasseh reigned for like 50 years or 55 years, something like that. His son Amnon reigned for like 2 years or some similar to that. So we have close to 60 years of godlessness. Somebody could have been born and reached the age of 50, a grown man living in a nation that was not a God, a Yahweh nation. You see, like how we say Christian nation. The only Judah they knew was a pagan nation. However, we still have evidences of people younger than that. So we have evidence of people younger than Manasseh, potentially younger than Ammon, i.e. Jeremiah, that served the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That understands the law, and that and preaches, to the nations. Now, one could argue. I haven't done the math, but one could argue that Jeremiah knew the law because his father Hilkiah, when he discovered the law, taught it to him. But at the end of the day, we know that this man is a high priest of God, and his son followed suit. So that's evidence to show that there's some people that still worship God in the midst of all of the pagan practices that surround them.
Yeah, I mean, going way back, an example that was Father Abraham himself, who was the only one who was worshiping God, apparently, amongst all the people who lost their way.
They mentioned Terah? Yeah. Specifically say Terah used to play with idols, man. Abraham had to get from around there.
Man, I was going to just say one of those things we read in the other book.
Oh.
And I don't even want to say that to have people thinking.
But listeners out there, I'll let you know. Read the canon, the 66 books of the Bible. Read it, get a good understanding of it. There's a lot of books out there. Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Joshua.
Oh, Joshua. Oh,
right. They got some books out there, bro. And I mean, it's very intriguing. I tell you, you read some of these books, you eat that right up.
Boy, it's juicy.
But it does not align with the word of God.
It does not align perfectly. Let's say that.
Right. It does not align. It adds some unverifiable context to certain things, and then some facts are just completely incorrect, factually incorrect, as it compares to the books of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important to know the word, because if you're not firm in it, you can get introduced to something that you believe is gospel, but it's actually not. It's folklore, or it's apocrypha. I don't know. It's some days say apocrypha. I know. Anyway, but it's some texts that are doctored to give off the impression that they're ancient writings, but they're actually not.
Yeah, one of these days we need to like talk more about the Apocrypha because there's a lot of. Anyway, I even gonna start that topic now because we could be way off course. Anyway, back to Kings. Back to Kings. So in verse 14, so Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam, Akbor, Shaphan, Asaiah, went to Ulda the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, the son of Tekvah, the son of Harphaz, keeper of the wardrobe. She dwelt in Jerusalem in the second quarter. And they spoke with her, and she said to them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, tell the man who sent you to me, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring calamity on this place and on its inhabitants, all the words of the book which the king of Judah has read, because they have forsaken me and burned incense to other gods, and that they might provoke me to anger with all the words of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be aroused against this place, and shall not be quenched. But as for the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of the Lord in this manner, you shall speak with him. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel concerning the words which you have heard. Because your heart was tender, and you humbled yourself before the Lord when you heard what was spoke against this place, and against its inhabitants, that you would become a desolation and a curse. And you tore your clothes and wept before me, I have also heard you, says the Lord. Surely, therefore, I will gather you to your fathers, and you shall be gathered to your grave in peace. And your eye shall not see all the calamity which I bring upon this place. So they brought back word to the king. Mercy.
I didn't mean to say apocrypha, by the way. I meant to say pseudo-apocrypha. That's the actual word, pseudo, whatever. But yeah. So we can see that regardless of the state of Josiah, before learning of the law, he repented wholeheartedly. He saw this as wrong, and he didn't double down like kings in the past. He tore his clothes, and he repented, and the Lord, blessed him for that. Promised him that he won't see some of the turmoil about to happen. I remember you mentioned Manasseh last chapter. In the Chronicles account, they talk about how he get put on timeout. They sent him to Babylon until he cooled down a little bit. You know what I mean? He got captured by the Babylonians, and then he converted. He converted to Judaism. He converted to true worship of the Most High God.
I like this as the next example of we seeing God delaying judgment because of someone's prayer, someone's repentance. And we see God saying, like, you know what, I'll delay it, but it's still coming. My anger ain't going to be quenched because of all the years that you guys have turned your back on me, the repeated, I would say, infidelity at this point. Like,
see, but even when we was reading on Manasseh, God, it wasn't like y'all in this king era do this to y'all broke the covenant and whatever. He was saying, God was speaking straight up. He said, bro, since I brought y'all out of Egypt, this how y'all was. You know what I mean? Like from Joshua and them time, bro, like this is continual. There has been no change, bro. So I think it's at a point where he look at it in totality and say, yo, generations have passed, hundreds, thousands of years, several hundreds years have passed. Kings, good and bad, have passed. But one thing that is consistent is the chosen people's ability to turn away from God and run after other gods and provoke God to anger. And so Hezekiah was in the, well, we could say he's the last straw maybe, but Hezekiah wasn't a determining factor, Josiah, Manasseh, none. All of this is a comprehensive analysis of their turning away from God, being apostate.
And then even too, like, even too, the Northern Kingdom doesn't get
They don't get theirs. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even more like, yeah, agreed. Definitely agreed.
Yeah. So if we go back to last chapter, 2 Kings 21, verse 15, because they have done evil in my sight and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came out of Egypt, even to this day. And that was 3 generations back past. This was during the time of Manasseh. So even still, we can see this as crazy because obviously they had not been completely conquered the way that God had prophesied it was going to happen. And Josiah seeing this, Josiah knows the impending doom because he's like, oh, wait, hold on. If God say all this stuff explicitly, right? And then he could think about his grandfather getting captured and stuff like that. And then he could think about his father dying young, and I guess he could see the tension among the Egyptians and the Assyrians and the Babylonians, right? He could see it. He could see it all around. So he's like, we have done wrong, and the evidence is here. And the Lord was like, you know what? It's like the thief on the cross. Today you will dine in paradise. Now, verily I tell you today, you will dine in paradise, because I'm gonna get lost in this thought. But it's like the Lord told the thief on the cross that day that his soul was saved. Same thing with Josiah. He's like, bro, you save yourself a lot of heartache and pain because you chose not to side with evil. You sided with righteousness. You did not worship idols and do all of this stuff that your father did, but you are repenting on behalf of him and on behalf of the people, and I would see that, and I would, bless you and protect you from the evil that is to come.
You bought Judah a couple more years.
Yeah.
Couple more years is all you get there. Reminds me when Abraham was trying to save Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Lord, how much good men would you save it for?
It just always baffles me that after all of that, God still destroyed the city, implying that they did not meet the quota. 10 good men?
Nope.
Boy, God was like, I count about one. One good man. Abraham should have tried his son. But Abraham was saying, surely they got at least 10. How could they not have 10 good men and my nephew going there and he ain't turn back? In a way, he just surrounded by all wicked people.
Well, he didn't know what his nephew was going through, boy.
No.
He didn't know. And then his nephew probably be like, boy, what I get myself into? What I get myself into? All right. So should we at least start the next chapter?
How much time we got left,
We about 30 minutes in.
Oh yeah, we gotta go. Gotta go to the next chapter.
Either that or this is gonna be a super short episode.
Yeah, real. I mean, it's either or.
Anyway, let's start it because this man got a lot. So 23, chapter 2 Kings 23, verse 1. Now the king sent them to gather the elders of Judah and Jerusalem to him. And the king went up into the house of the Lord with all the men of Judah, and with him all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their hearing the words of the book of the covenant, which had been found in the house of the Lord. The king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to follow the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all his heart, all his soul, to perform the words of this covenant that are written in the book. And all the people took a stand for the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah, the priest of the second order, the doorkeepers, to bring out the temple of the Lord, to bring out of the temple of the Lord all the articles that were made for Baal, for Asherah, and for the host of heaven. And he burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried their ashes to Bethel. Then he moved the idolatrous plague priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah and in all the places around Jerusalem. And those who burned incense to Baal, to the sun, to the moon, to the constellations, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the wooden image from the house of the Lord to the brook of Kidron outside Jerusalem, burned it at the brook of Kidron, and ground it to ashes, and threw its ashes on the graves of the common people. Then he tore down the ritual booths of the perverted persons that were in the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the wooden image. And he bought all the priests from the cities of Judah and defiled the high places where the priests had burned incense, from Geba to Beersheba. Also, he broke down the high places of the gates that were at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the governor of the city, which were to the left of the city gate. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places did not come up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, but they ate unleavened bread among their brethren.
Whew, boy, they had a lot.
And you see,
lot going on, bro.
But again, that's really just painting the picture like the state of Judah at this point.
Right, bro, okay. You go into the house of the Lord, right? Remember it had the golden basins and the seraphim, or no, cherubs, the Ark of the Covenant, right? And then they put Asherah, they put Baal, they put Mercury, Jupiter, Mars.
All of them, bro.
All of the constellations, right? And then, they had a booth for perverts, bro. Like all of the perverted people representing different like sexual appetites. They had a section in the temple for that, bro.
Yep.
Bro, they was going stupid
the
in the
Hebrew
temple.
word is Keddashim, which literally translates to those practicing sodomy and prostitution in religious rituals.
Wow. See, because so this ain't the first time they used the word like perverted, stuff like that. I think in First Kings, they had said that. And another translation translated it to, and they're saying that there were sodomites during that time or whatever. So I didn't take that as people native to Sodom and Gomorrah. I took that from the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I took that as, the practicing of some type of ox or whatever. But yeah, bro, bro, you know what it is? But you know what it is? They have like a
They're scared to know what it is right now.
But that's what I'm saying. But like they have some type of ritual. They have some in the temple, bro.
In the church.
Bro, what is going? That is see.
Imaginal God field. That's exactly what he's saying. What is going on,
bro? Like what is? And then
it's like do that in your house. Why you gotta do it in the church?
For real, like, and so when God's in the temple. So when God says that Manasseh did much evil, and he what they say, he enticed the people to
sin,
to do more sin than all of the other nations that was destroyed for their sin. You know what I mean? So let's think about Sodom and Gomorrah, right? They was destroyed for a specific sin, right? Or they was destroyed, basically. I ain't getting into specifics because the Bible say that God come to Abraham saying I was going to destroy this nation, right? And so Manasseh. So we got Sodom and Gomorrah. We got the Amalekites that snuck up behind the children of Israel when they were leaving Egypt, and they did like a sneak attack behind them, and God was like, "Yo, we go." Or was it the Anakites? One of them cities, and God was like, "Bro, we can completely destroy y'all. No trace of y'all left." So I give you two examples of wicked cities that God destroyed, and Manasseh was doing worse than all two of them. You see what I'm saying? Like he was enticing y'all. Oh no, we doing worse than that. So like they was all of the women and children were more so in the back of the line when the Israelites were leaving Egypt. There's over 1 million of them. Women and children, the slower pace walkers in the back, at the elderly, right? And y'all talking about y'all sneaking behind them and in battle and fighting them, bro. What type sight that is, bro? Like, what is that? You know what I mean? What type of act is that? And Manasseh is known for shedding innocent blood. So this is not far-fetched, bro. That's the type of person that's the type of stuff he was into. Shedding innocent blood, bro. People who ain't on your level, they ain't trying to fight. You know what I mean? They ain't do no sin or nothing. Taking advantage of people. And now we see like his worship knows no bound. He permit even sexual type of acts in worship for God. But then it goes to the question though, bro. If he sacrificed his own son, which showing me that Ammon was like probably the second oldest son. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But anyway, if you sacrifice your own son, probably your firstborn, bro, ain't no type of act for the gods off limits, bro.
Ain't
Nothing
no
off
telling.
limits. Yeah, for real. So
Ain't no telling.
yeah, they going crazy, bro.
And you see, they was like this chapter really just shows you like you thought last chapter, well, 2 chapters ago now, was really breaking down what Manasseh was doing. You come here and you see all this up here to get away, like get rid of. It's like, whoa there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to correct.
Yeah, and that's what I saying. So we say this man is right. This Josiah was righteous. You know what I'm saying? But up until he read this, we still had all of these idols in the temple. Mind you, he probably did not know no better. You see what I'm saying? And so I know it's like it's just really interesting for me to grasp the state of the nation.
What's also interesting too is that you had this prophetess who was, I don't want to say chilling, that might sound disrespectful, but who was clearly there, but she ain't tell him nothing for like 18 years. I feel like, I just didn't get delivered to him.
We all, that's true. She might not have. Yeah, she might not.
They clearly knew to go to her. You think about it, even the high priest was like, oh yeah, we gotta go to her. Because she should definitely know like what God really into. What the one true God really into. So it's again, to your point, you can't really grasp the state of what you know that there's a bunch of evilness happening. But I'm like, prophetess, what were you doing?
I mean, she might not have get the call to go to him. You know, the Lord might have known it would have happened like this and in his time, and then he just wink at the ignorance beforehand. You know, you gotta move and talk sometime, you know. I can't say what happened because a lot of prophets we hear about, and especially in like First, Second Samuel, First, Second Kings, and you might hear about them once, bro. And it's like, what was y'all doing? You know what I mean? Like I was even wonder about Jonah, bro. We hear about Jonah when he got into Jeroboam II. One liner, bro. It's like, yeah, Jeroboam II restored the boundary stones that was told to him by Jonah the prophet, son of Amittai. You know what I mean? Then he had nothing else but this fella, bro. And if it wasn't for his debacle, we probably wouldn't have heard about Jonah, So these prophets, they probably was working, but it just didn't fit in the chronicle of
story,
the king. Yeah, right.
All right. Man. What you think about them putting the ashes of the idols over the graves?
But it was just interesting to me because when they burn them ashes, they go into a whole other city to do that, bro. Like, yeah, bro. Like, I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I don't know. Might be petty. I don't know. What you think?
I guess different ways to look at it, right? Because, I mean, idol with the dead, like nothing was supposed to touch the dead because it would be like, defile or not. So it might have been like a slap against the idols, like, y'all could be spread against the dead to like defile y'all, show y'all really lesser than the one true God. It might be something like that. Or it could just be, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some of the Hebrew traditions I'm not that well versed on.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was done with a purpose.
Yeah, because when they say they carried the ashes to Bethel, I'm like, this got to be for a specific reason, because why y'all carrying it? Like y'all going on y'all way?
Why y'all putting all this extra effort?
Right.
Like when they said they burned the ashes in the river, I mean like by the brook. I was like, so why y'all just ain't throw it in the water?
Right. Y'all park up the ashes.
They say no, we got
transport it.
We got a better plan for this.
Yeah, dog.
All right, so in verse 10, and he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter pass through the fire of Molech. So he's saying we can stop this too. And he removed the horses of the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun at the entrance of the house of the Lord by the chamber of Nathan Melech, the officer who was in the court, and he burned the chariots of the sun with fire. The altars that were on the roof, the upper chamber of Ahaz, which the kings of Judah had made, the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the Lord, the king broke down and pulverized there and threw their dust into the brook Kidron. See, now he said, okay, yeah, let's just do this now this time.
But hold on, back to what we were saying about the ashes. I saw a footnote that says 2 Chronicles 34 verse 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it said, they broke down the altars of the Baals in his presence, and the incense altars which were above them he cut down, and the wooden images, the carved images, and molded images he broke in pieces, and made dust of them, and scattered it on the graves of those who had sacrificed to them. You see what I'm saying? So right here it just said to the they threw the ashes on the common people. You know what I'm saying? On the graves of the common people, but it didn't give us the context. I mean, you can put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, this who you all burning to? Yeah. This is me. Yeah.
All right. Then the king, verse 13, the king defiled the high places that were in the east of Jerusalem, which were on the south of the Mount of Corruption, which Solomon, king of Israel, had built for Ashtoreth, the abomination of the Sidonians,
Mercy.
for Shemoth, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the people of Ammon. And he broke in pieces the sacred pillars, and cut down the wooden images, and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high place which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel sin, had made, both that altar and the high place he broke down. And he burnt the high place, and crushed it to powder, and he burnt the wooden image. And Josiah turned, he saw the tombs that were there on the mountain. And he sent and took the bones out of the tombs, and burnt them on the altar, and defiled it according to the word of the Lord, which the man of God proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. And he said, what gravestone is this that I see? And the men of the city told him, it is the tomb of the man of God who came from Judah, and proclaimed these things which you have done against the altar of Bethel. And he said, let him alone. Let no one move his bones. So they let his bones alone, and the bones of the prophet who came from Samaria. Now Josiah took away all the shrines of the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to provoke the Lord to anger. And he did them according to the deeds that he had done in Bethel. He executed all the priests of the high places who were there on the altars, and burned men's bones on them. And he returned to Jerusalem. Then the king commanded all the people, saying, keep the Passover to the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of the covenant. Such a Passover surely had never been held since the days of the judges who judged Israel, nor in all the days of the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah.
So that's interesting. So now, and that's the thing, you got the law. So that's the Genesis to Deuteronomy.
Mm-hmm.
So you got all of this, and you got in Exodus when they left Egypt, and God was like, yeah, so every this is the beginning of your year right here. And every year around this time, we can keep the Passover because we remember what happened when the angel of death passed over the blood of the lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And so he read all this. He, because it is kind of like excruciating detail on how to handle, like when it comes to these idols, it's like, oh yeah, if you see someone doing this, that, you know what I'm saying? So he take care of all of that, and they making a note to say, as according to the word of the Lord.
But he really meant business. You could see someone who was like zealous, and now he have a place to put his zealousness.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, all right, we going full fledged.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's too, because it was so interesting, because they would be like, yeah, he broke down all the altars, all the high places. In my mind, I'm like, bro, you knew where every high place was, bro? And y'all traveled to everyone and broke them down? Like,
right, that's literally what I saw in this man did. He was on a mission. They even started mentioning, Jeroboam the son of Nebat. I was like, boy, we ain't mentioned Jeroboam in a while in this regard. He's like, even going there, breaking this down, bro.
He break down Solomon.
Bro,
You see what I said?
I was like, this is impressive. I thought Hezekiah caught this one.
That's what I say, bro. I like, wait, how I thought Hezekiah did break down everything, but he like, oh no, even the ones that back from Solomon time. You see what I saying?
Hey, man, they going on. None slip by.
No, sir. But so now what's interesting is that he read up on the Passover and he was like, where God say, keep the Passover. And he said, bro, well, everybody, this is a new holiday for us. You see what I'm saying? Well, holiday week, like others do. We could keep this Passover, bro. Straight up. So now what's interesting is the verbiage. Such a Passover surely had never been held since the days of the judges who judged Israel, nor in the days of all the kings of Israel, of Israel and kings of Judah. So when I first read this, I was like, man, you know what? We hadn't heard about any Passovers like at all. So I'm like, bro, you telling me even David and Solomon didn't keep the Passover? However, it could also be interpreted as saying such a Passover had never been, and not the Passover had never been held. You know what I'm saying? So basically, when he rid the town of all the idols, it could have been such a grand ceremony. This come to Jesus moment, as we say, to the point where it's like the magnitude and just the spirit of it was more grand than any other Passover that had happened during this time. You know what I'm saying? And we have evidence in Chronicles to support that a Passover had happened before Josiah was born. Hezekiah kept the Passover. You know what I'm saying? King Hezekiah kept the Passover. And I think in the chapter it says something along the lines of Second Chronicles 30 and verse 26, there was great joy. So this is, if you read the chapter, it's talking about the Passover and ceremonial stuff. It said, there was great joy in Jerusalem, for since the days of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, there had been nothing like this in Jerusalem. And that's all in the context of the Passover, stuff like that. Verse 15 of that same chapter, they slaughtered the Passover lamb on the 14th day of the second month, etc., etc. So a Passover had occurred before Josiah. You know what I'm saying? It had occurred after the judges and before Josiah. So in the world that the Bible, is one complete book, I would lean on the side of this saying such a Passover had never happened. There is the possibility though that because this book was written before Second Chronicles, this could have just been a hyperbole or just a misinformation, like the author. Yeah, go on.
I was just saying, like, if you read in the King James, it says, surely there was not holding such a Passover from the days of the judges that had judged Israel, nor the days of the kings of, so it's like kind of showing to your point, like it's talking about the grandiose of a festival.
Yeah, and bro, I kid you not, I was looking at this in like 5 different translations, bro. Like even NIV, ESV, NASB, all have the term such. So I like, okay, even when other people translate it, that's how it comes, that's how it gets translated. So I think that verbiage was intentional in how they use it. But yeah, Josiah doing it big, man. He bringing the Passover back.
Boy, I tell you. So now we were in.
I think this either like 23. 23. 23, yeah.
But in the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover was held before the Lord in Jerusalem. Moreover, Josiah put away those who consulted the mediums, the spiritists, the households of gods and idols, all the abominations that were seen in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem. that he might perform the words of the law, which were written in the book of Hilkiah the priest, found in the house of the Lord. Now before him there was no king like him, who turned to the Lord with all his heart, with all his soul, and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses. Nor after him did any arise like him. So how you feel about that last statement? What about our boy David?
I believe it, because when Hezekiah, they said the same thing about Hezekiah, but when we read the totality of Hezekiah, we realize that he fell off.
Mm-hmm.
So Hezekiah was zealous, just like Josiah. He got rid of the spiritists, the high places. No king got rid of high places. None. Hezekiah was the first one to do that. But Josiah looked like, bro, I doing even more. I am being more, not to continue using the word zealous, but I'm being more thorough. Yeah, thorough. I'm being more thorough, bro. Like, all this with Solomon do, y'all think this a monument? No, that's gone, bro. I don't care if that's my great to the 10th, 20 degree. You know what I mean? That is gone. If it ain't right, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? The spiritists, all this stuff, gone. I cleaning the temple. I doing all of this. And I implementing the Passover. He probably even implemented other ceremony and feasts, because God said that he kept, the law of Moses. He kept according to all the law, So I believe it, bro. In the story of Josiah, we don't really have a moment where it says, oh, but he got proud, or he turned to worshiping idols and stuff like that. So, when he saying where he started, it's low key how he finished, bro. Like, in terms of his demeanor and his piety. So yeah, I agree.
I like how it said this, because when you compare him to David, because obviously the natural comparison is going to be like him and David at this point. I think he had more to deal with in a wicked nation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Judah now ain't like the combined kingdom of Israel back then. These people are wicked. You know what I'm saying? Like, David ain't really had to worry about, oh, I need to come with a massive sweeping, like, what we call them? Like a crusade, salvation, like a reformation period. Like, I don't have to come and do this whole, like, reformation. Like, all y'all pretty much don't believe in God, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got some other influences, right? But for the most part, all y'all believe in the one true God. Is Josiah, and then David grew up knowing who God was.
Yeah.
Josiah,
and they were under the law.
Exactly.
They were very much under the law, yeah.
Josiah had to almost buck up into finding out who God was.
Josiah.
Think about it, bro. Like, he really just sent them message. Like, he's like, bro, I kind of like this temple, We need to fix this up. Anyway, let's go raise money to raise this temple and get this temple back to how it should be in its glory.
Yeah. Clean it up. Renovations.
They miss and find the law of God and recite to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, this? What? We supposed to be doing this? Oh, no, Mom. I think about it, he instantly knew hearing it, but we'd have messed up. He really consulted, saying, is there any hope for us?
And he could have easily just thrown that book back. Because this is the thing. Someone before him discarded of the book, hid the book, or just put it somewhere and lost it, right? The book was not of much importance, right? He could have relied on his ancestors saying, bro, my ancestors had this book. They tossed it to the side to worship after the stars. This must be the true thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he hardened not his heart. He read this book and he's like, bro, this facts, bro. Like, let's be for real. This is facts. It's like, I can't understand how other people, like other religions, read the Bible as a part of their religion, but say, oh, this part fake, this part right. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, to me, it's like you really can't nitpick, because how you know the parts that you say right is not also tainted. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you have the source of truth, why are you even involved in the Bible to begin with? You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that really like, it's like hard for me to grasp because I don't know. I have the luxury in Christianity of having a one-stop shop with the Bible where I have how we were created, you know what I'm saying? God, the plan of redemption, you know, God the Son, stuff like that. But you know, other people like even in the Rastafarian faith, they believe in the Bible, they interpret it different to the point where they went out and looked for another Messiah or a reincarnate of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, y'all going against the word to do this. And now that y'all was fixated to do that, y'all have to make this person fit in the Bible. So like you jamming it to fit. You know what I mean? And if you say, oh, what XYZ, now we wrong. Like now I wrong for taking the Bible at its word because it don't fit y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all perspective or y'all narrative or whatever. But we have Josiah who just read the word and was like, oh no, that's it. Because think about it, bro. He had almost like a Jeroboam religion, bro. You got the Most High God, you got the Ark of the Covenant right there, bro. But also you got Ashereth, you got Baal, you got the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets,
the moth, everybody.
You got everything. You see what I'm saying? Like, so, but you made a choice. You made a choice, bro. And I sure them statues is probably beautiful and things like that. But you say, bro, I rocking with the Most High God because it makes sense, bro. I know how we were created. I learned about our history, like Abraham, and why we are Israelites, why we are descendant of Judah. Everything lines up. And then you can put the two and two together that, oh, we broke the chain. Someone broke the chain. We was disconnected. And now that we are reconnected, we going all the way. Josiah, throw the book on, sweep that under the rug. Make sure hide this. Make sure nobody hears of this. But no, he gone to his people who may have been predominantly idol worshipers. And he say, we stopping out today, cold turkey. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of courage.
It does.
Takes a lot of courage. And so when the Bible compares and they say, bro, no king was like him. And we know how highly God thinks of David to the point where David's grandchildren, his descendants, just blessed, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the Messiah coming from, they say the Messiah going to be a son of David, you know? They could have said a son of Judah because that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? But they're like, no, David specifically. So we understand the regard that God has for David and the heart that David had. But in terms of works, in terms of good works, nobody was like this guy. Nobody had to endure. Nobody was in this. Other kings were in the circumstance that he was in, but there's no one comparable to him in terms of his piety for God. And it's just one-track mind when it comes to just following the law of Moses. So, yeah, I definitely agree.
I agree. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. All right. You just want to finish this chapter then?
Oh, yeah, we could.
I was considering we should just stop here. Anyway.
10 verses, and then next chapter is a whole new character we introducing.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Verse 28? No, 26. Nevertheless, the Lord did not turn his fierceness of great wrath, which his anger was aroused against Judah because of all the provocations with which Manasseh had provoked him. And the Lord said, I will also remove Judah from my sight, as I removed Israel. And I will cast off this city, Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and the house of which I said, my name shall be there. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went to the aid of the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates, and King Josiah went out against him, and Pharaoh Necho, and killed him at Megiddo. when he confronted him. Then his servants moved his body in a chariot from Megiddo, brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own tomb. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, anointed him and made him king in his father's place. So we see Josiah died in battle against the Pharaoh of Egypt. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, God said that he wasn't going to see the calamity. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I was really wondering why you end like that. You know what I mean? Like, Josiah, we have this, good guy, do a lot of good, and you die in battle. But I'm like, bro, wicked kings die like that all the time.
Yeah. Once you go in Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 35 gives a little bit more color as to the story surrounding his encounter with the king. So essentially, Egypt was on the side of Assyria. Babylon was really becoming the main superpower now. So it's like Assyria and Babylon really struggling for who really going to be the top dog for real. And so now the Egyptians and the Assyrians was fighting against the Babylonians. Now, really and truly, we don't really know why Judah was trying to get in this. So we see the king of Egypt says in 2 Chronicles 35, verse 20, after all this, when Josiah prepared the temple, Necho, king of Egypt, came to fight against Shekarmish by the Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. But he sent a message to him saying, what have I to do with you, king of Judah? I have not come against you today, but against the house which I have war. For God commanded me to make haste. Refrain from meddling with God who is with me, lest he destroy you. And nevertheless, Josiah would not turn from his face, but disguised himself so that he might fight with him. And he did not heed the words of Necho from the mouth of God. So he came to fight in the valley of Megiddo, and the archers shot King Josiah. And the king said to his servants, take me away, for I am severely wounded. And the servants took him out of the chariot and put him in the second chariot that he had and brought him to Jerusalem. So he died and was buried in the tombs of his fathers. So as my mother would say, hard-head bird don't make good soup.
That's real. That's just how Ahab died.
But it's like, for real though, why are you trying to get involved in big people business at this point, bro? Like, the big kingdoms around you go into war. Sit small until your name called, buddy. Don't get involved in this. God ain't tell you go, don't go. The king tribe want him, buddy. I have no smoke for you.
This ain't what you want, bro.
This almost remind me of Jehu. Like, bro, I ain't really got no smoke for you. Really want to find out? Come find out. Come find out. Come find out. Whose side are you on? Come find out.
Josiah was a crash dummy, man.
He buck up into this one again.
Yeah. Man.
Go for it.
No, it got to show, bro. Like, you could go on an ocean, on a bridge, jump off a bridge, and say, "God got me." You said, and you could drown, bro. You could definitely drown. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I saw a quote. This might not be that fitting, but they was like, the Mount Everest, like the path to Mount Everest is like filled with a lot of bodies.
Yeah, dead bodies. People who ain't prepared.
Of people who was ambitious, you know what I mean? Like, and thought that they could make it, right?
That's a different way of saying it, yes.
Yeah, no. But they was basically saying, right, sometimes you really can bite off more than you can chew, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Don't let all this motivational mumbo jumbo get to your head, bro. Some battles are not yours, bro. No. And,
oh boy.
Yeah, bro.
I really wonder what he was trying to gain, but either way.
That's the truth, though, because I don't know, bro. Just to speculate, I think he see them. So, okay, God tell you you're not going to see calamity, right? You don't even know the calamity that you're all about to face. You might have thought calamity take the form of well, losing in battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you might say, well, if we lose in battle, then the calamity can happen. And so God don't want me to see calamity. So therefore, I won't lose the battle. You feel me? And completely ignoring the idea that me dying would also mean that I'm not going to see the calamity. Like we could lose the battle, I die, and still don't see calamity there. You know. So I can't. I just don't see. Obviously, yeah, I just don't see why he going out to seek Nico. You know what I mean?
And Nico try want him, you know. Try want him.
Yeah.
All right, so verse 31. Jehoaz, another J, was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. 3
Nice.
months. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. See, Jeremiah was the name of the time back in that time. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, oh boy, according to all that his fathers had done. Now Pharaoh Necho put him in prison at Riblah in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem. And he imposed on the land a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Then Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in place of his father Josiah, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. And Pharaoh took Jehoaz and went to Egypt, and he died there. So again, this is like another tangentially point. You doing what you ain't supposed to do, put a different burden on your nation. One, you cause your son get captive. Because he wasn't even supposed to be king yet, realistically, because you wasn't even supposed to go fight against Egypt.
You was young when you died, bro.
Now your people essentially get placed under subserviency to Egypt, and the next tribute tax get placed on that. But you wouldn't even know because you dead.
Yeah, and Nico calling the shots. Nico got decide who could be the next king and thing. You know what I mean?
And think about it, Nico, he wouldn't even be on y'all wouldn't even be on his radar if you didn't go and fight him. He was like, you done, since you want to be so disrespectful, you done caused me make war with your nation now. Now I know the king dead, so I could come marching and do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we have King Jehoiakim, which is also interesting because you know what other famous prophet was now living?
Ooh.
Daniel. Daniel was living in the reign of Jehoiakim.
That would make sense.
So, yeah. So Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give money according to the command of Pharaoh. So he exacted the silver and the gold from the people of the land, from everyone according to his assessment, to give it to Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebudah, the daughter of Peadiah of Rumah. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord according to all that his fathers has done. So also these kings was having multiple baby mamas still.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
But Daniel lived long, you know.
Oh yeah, Daniel had a good little lifespan.
Daniel ran through long kings, bro.
He's seeing some things. Daniel is seeing some things.
Yeah.
But I guess Daniel make it really and truly to the whole Babylonian Empire, but he even make it to Cyrus.
Trying to show you?
Daniel, but the funny thing about it is like the Babylonian Empire didn't even really last that long for real. But he made it true.
But bro, Nebuchadnezzar, see the Bible say Nebuchadnezzar and then it say Belshazzar, right? But they had a whole couple of the kings after Nebuchadnezzar.
No, agreed.
So Daniel ran through all them kings, Nabonidus, and you see what I say? Like, and then the Medes, that was quick. And then, well, it was like Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
After that. Yeah, bro. And another thing, Jehoiakim wasn't even, when it was Jehoiakim, then another king, Jehoiakim, Chin or whatever, and then Nebuchadnezzar come and take him.
But Nebuchadnezzar was already reigning though.
At the same time, concurrently.
Yeah. But yeah, man, so that ends the chapter. That ends the chapter. Overall thoughts.
Josiah is a cool dude. He was a crash dummy at the ending. And yeah, he crashed out, bro. He crashed out, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a crash course. And he ended up going to an early grave because he was in a level-headed, he didn't make a level-headed decision. But other than that, as pious as they come, you know what I mean? He remind me of when Governor General that we had in the Bahamas, Woods Rogers. Remember they say he expelled the land of all the pirates, clean up the town and thing like that.
Pirates expelled, commerce restored.
Restored, right? And so I want to shout out historical figure during that time. But it really reminded me of that because I remember in school, like in elementary school, we learned about that. Piracy was a plague in the Bahamas, you know what I mean? You boy come and clean up the town. Oh, that's how the books say. I know, bro. You know, some people, like, you know, the people who write history, but like,
the victor always controls the narrative.
Exactly. They conveniently spruce up everything. So I know. But your boy, and I just wanted to put that in kind of like relevant terms for me in my culture. That's what I learned. So to the Jews or to the people of that time, this would have been that. You clean up the town. It was a lot of darkness happening. We saw the extent of their darkness, bro, in the temple. You know? So when you see God say, they did this to provoke me, you can't deny it. You cannot deny it. When you see the coming destruction and all of that stuff, you cannot wonder why this is happening. When I was young, before having read this narrative, I remember the Old Testament, some stories, but then I remember Jesus. And I remember how the Romans was ruling them. I remember how Daniel and the Hebrew boys get taken away. And in my mind, I just used to say, bro, because we like pacifists. Other nations could come and just run us down and take us and, we just turned the other cheek, But that's not what happened. That is not what happened. They blew it. That's the truth. God, they were under a covenant. They pledged righteousness. And they chose not to be righteous. They chose just to run wild. And in any other circumstance in the world, bro, you break the law, there's consequences. You know what I'm saying? You break someone's trust. You know what I'm saying? You disobey your parents. It's like it's a cause and effect. That's consistent throughout everything. You know what I'm saying? Even in these other pagan nations or polytheistic nations, they had laws. They had laws you had to uphold, and when you break that, there was consequences, civil penalties. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And so that is the state that Judah is in. Now, Josiah just so happened to intercept it because Josiah was truly living in ignorance. And it proves that because once he learned, they say, if you knew better, you would do better. As soon as he knew better, he did better.
Instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
He got the confirmation from God that y'all was doing wrong. But God said, yo, I can show you love still because I see how righteous you are, like how repentant you was. And he never stopped after that. I going above and beyond. There was people like Hezekiah that was credited for their righteous acts, and I doing even more than him. That was the bar. And I outdoing him. Great grandfather, sorry, bro. I breaking your record. most what it called high places removed.
For real.
And so and so him dying, it also fulfills a prophecy from Hezekiah. No, not even Hezekiah. Yeah, from Hezekiah time. See, we know Hezekiah was righteous, but at the same time, Hezekiah had a downfall. And the Lord prophesied that his offspring could be taken away. You know what I'm saying? Manasseh, his offspring is Ammon, Josiah. You feel me? And so it's like, bro, when you are, bro, this. So one thing that I find the most fascinating about curses in the Bible, God cursed Solomon to say, bro, your kingdom will be taken away from you, right? Solomon's son come around and was an idiot, and the kingdom was taken away from him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it don't be like, oh, it's curry favored, oh, it ain't fair. We see how the ones who was prophesied, that the person that was going to be directly affected also play a part in the destruction or the removal of their blessings. So Josiah's son, his first son did evil in the sight of the Lord. And so just off of that, your kingdom gone, bro. Straight like that, bro. Now, if he had done righteous, I believe that the Lord could have said the same thing. That God could have said, yo, because you was pious, you ain't gonna see the calamity. And then the next evil person gonna get what God had promised when Manasseh was around. You see what I'm saying? So, and I find that to be consistent in Deuteronomy 28. The Lord say blesses and curses. The blessings list was short because the list, we had already spent 5 books of God telling you what to do and what not to do. So when it comes to the blessings, like, yo, do this, follow this, and you can get blessings. But if you don't, I want to tell you the extent to which the consequences are. There are grave consequences for disobeying me. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't only because I say so. I'm telling you not to do these things because it's gonna better humanity. You're gonna be a light to other nations. There's a lot riding on y'all being holy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are gonna be happier if y'all not murdering each other, stealing each other's wife and things like that. Y'all are gonna be happier. Y'all gonna live higher quality of lives. I'm telling you this for your own good. And if you choose to disobey me and boast and provoke me, there are going to be consequences on top of the fact that y'all going to be living in strife and all of the bad stuff that y'all put yourselves through. And so now that Josiah is gone, we just lost, in terms of kings of Judah, we just lost the last light in terms of kings on the throne of Judah. And so now we're going to see what happens when the kingdom is ruled by darkness.
King Josiah was diligent in his efforts to clean the land of its idols. As soon as he learned of the book of the law, he implemented change. And as a result, the Lord spared him from the coming destruction. But as for his sons, Jehoahaz and Jehoiakim, they were not so pious. But we'll talk more about the destruction of Judah on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.